this is the end, would I say, will this be the end of the fight after this SSNIT communication that they have terminated this entire transaction?
Well, let me begin by extending very warm regards to all the distinguished viewers of TV3. I will want to immediately declare this a victory for the Ghanaian people. It is not a personal victory. It is a victory for the Ghanaian people. It is a victory for organized labor. Indeed, but for organized labor supporting this crusade and declaring a nationwide strike, a total lockdown, if you like. And I don't recall the last time in our history that we saw such unanimity on the labor front. To have the TUC, the Ghana Federation of Labor, the Ghana Medical Association, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, all the teacher unions, pre-tertiary, tertiary, to have utility workers unions, every labor organizations, including JUSAC, the Judicial
Service
Staff Association.
Mortuary workers.
Mortuary workers. I don't recall.
DPRT of TUC.
Probably the 1948 riots. What gave the final push for independence? If you look at the history of our country, so labor ought to be celebrated, and those who have had doubts about the ability of Ghanaians to get recalcitrant, intransigent, belligerent politicians to listen to the people. This is your answer. That real power belongs to the people. Because on this matter, the president refused to listen, met organized labor, and rather sought to convince organized labor to come along. We filed questions in Parliament. The Minister of Employment came to tell us less than 2 weeks after the NPRA statement instructing SSNIT to suspend the processes and that they were going to conduct a review. Suddenly the NPRA, according to the Employment Minister, became the most efficient organization the world has ever known. That for such a major transaction, we're talking about multiple bids, multiple laws, many issues raised by the transaction advisor, and I'll be coming to the transaction advisor's report shortly. In less than 2 weeks, the employment minister wanted us to believe that they have conducted a review, everything was above board, and that he can tell us authoritatively, to quote him verbatim, as he said in Parliament, that NPRA has asked SSNIT to proceed. So all of us then said, look, enough is enough. We must let the government know that sovereignty resides in the people. Real power belongs to the people. You cannot continue to take us for a ride. And so this morning, I am here to salute all workers of Ghana. Organized labor has done a phenomenal job. Yes, I started this, exposed a lot of angles, intercepted a lot of documents, but if we didn't get the support from the Ghanaian people, from organized labor, the thousands who poured out on the streets on the 18th of June, which served as the catalyst to raise awareness, to let those who are engaged in this obnoxious, obscene transaction know that the Ghanaian people will not sit idle and allow this deal to go through. All of those people who responded to our call, their sacrifices, their toils have not been in vain. The chiefs, I mean, that was a demonstration that was led by chiefs. And I don't recall the last time in our history to have our revered Ga chiefs, the Wulomai, all the chief priests, say that, look, we are not just going to give you our blessings and see you off and we return to our palaces. We will participate to the very end and will be with you to the presentation of your petition to whoever is sent by the president at the Jubilee House. I celebrate the chiefs, the young people of our country, those who were tear gassed. It's only last week the last victim was discharged from the Legon hospital. And I want to tell all of them that clearly their sacrifices have not been in vain. And when this chapter of Ghanaian history is written, all of them will feature. They can look back and say that when duty called, when the national interest was at stake, when workers' pensions, because you see, these hotels fundamentally were built by workers' contributions. Their returns on investment is what will take care of workers when in their twilight, when all of us can no longer have the energy to work, we expect that these assets will take care of us. And how government thought that it could cook such an arrangement without broad-based consultation, without involving parliament, involving the workers, and without transparency, it's mind-boggling. So we celebrate the Ghanaian people. Now, let me also emphasize, Alfred, and this is very important. Many people have said, oh, is this not just an interim political gimmick? That are we not doing this because we are in opposition now? And that perhaps if the buyer was NDC, you won't have me oppose this. I want to state emphatically that, look, this is not about partisanship. All the organized labor leaders who issue statements, nobody can convince me that all of them vote in one direction or belong to one political party. I think that would be an insult. So what we are doing is about the national interest, it's about principle. And I have been consistent for more than 16 years. You remember when I went to the Supreme Court? I have always said that public officials, politically exposed persons, should stay away from the purchase of state assets. Let me announce this morning that the private members bill that I'm working on, I'm sponsoring with a number of lawyers. We are in the final stages. We are calling the bill, today I can announce the name of that bill, we are calling it the Public Assets Protection Bill.
Public Assets
Protection Bill. And that law, which I'm hoping that the president will assent to it, it will prohibit all politicians and politically exposed persons, whether directly or indirectly, from purchasing state assets. Indeed, when you leave office, under the draft, we are saying that it should take 5 years at least before you can go near any public transaction. And this covers everything, whether it's a car, which is for the public, which is for the state, whether it is a bungalow, whether it is land, whether it is forest, whatever, because we have seen all kinds of things. I don't want to remind viewers this morning, it's very early in the day, what we have seen ending up in people's wills and all of that. All kinds of state assets, strategic national assets, which have been hijacked by politicians. We are saying that we are going to pass this Public Asset Protection Bill. The other thing which I like about this bill, which we will be putting forward very soon, I will subject it to public scrutiny. Do you know, Alfred, that if you are to go to our ministries, department, and agencies today and ask for a list of state assets, you won't get it.
You will not get it.
You won't get it.
The list.
The record keeping is so poor and it's been deliberately made so.
To whose benefit?
Do you know that as we speak, they can't even tell us how many bungalows we have in the name of the state? They can't tell us. So this bill, and I have insisted, we are going to have a provision which will mandate the publication of all state assets. It must be put online. So we will know. When you start selling, we will know that this is a public asset you are trying to sell. We want every state asset documented. The last time in Parliament we asked, and this has happened twice, we've asked the lands minister to provide a list, a total breakdown of state lands across the country. It's been impossible up to now.
They have not
been able to provide it. Can you believe that?
The state lands.
State lands. the Lands and Natural Resources Minister could not provide that. We also asked how many have been sold and who it has been sold to. He's not been able to provide it. He said we should give him time.
I recall that after this incident with the late Sir John, the ministry said they were going to bring, in fact, publish the persons who have bought state lands right from 1992 to date.
We asked in Parliament.
Do you
we don't have it. We still don't have it. The last time we reminded him, he responded with a threat that, do we know what will happen to the political class?
If we get that information, because a number of you have bought state lands.
And I said, so what? So what? Look, the political class should know that these things, this conduct, will one day be made public. Because I've never understood how. Look, you come into public office, these assets are put under your care, protected for all of us. Actually, what you should be telling us is how well you have protected these assets and how you have added more value, how you have increased these assets. Look, when was the last time, Alfred, you heard of the current generation of leaders having acquired a land bank or some strategic asset that we are saving for the future? As for us, we only came to sell. Our generation, that's all we came to do. So all of what Nkrumah left for us.
It's not our generation. I mean, you and I.
Not our generation.
The generation.
The generation of the current leaders.
Yes.
Yeah. You know,
they didn't come to act. They came to sell.
The current leader. I'm only saying that
a generation of sellers.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the assets that we inherited. Land banks, forests, environmental, horticultural sites, all of them today, instead of us at least to preserve. And Kwame Nkrumah's era, the population was below 5 million, and yet they could really secure even land for bungalows. They knew that the civil service will expand. You will need more workers. Your population will grow. When they were building hospitals, they knew that you need to have doctors and nurses in close proximity. When there are emergencies, they can respond. And they made sure that they secured land. Today, all of that land, go to Ridge, go to Kolebu. Everything has been sold. So this law, this private members bill, is going to insist that there has to be a database of all our assets, all lands, all cars, all bungalows. Have you been following my recent exposés?
On the
Parks and Gardens.
Well, the minister said
when I summoned the local government minister, I mean, he cut a very lowly image. I was impressed with his sincerity, but you could tell that he doesn't have support in the government. A private developer goes to put containers on Parks and Gardens, the only horticultural zone we have in Accra at cantonments, that he has bought it. His Danny Ike Real Estate Developers Limited. It's for him. Can you believe that? So Parks and Gardens staff go to work and they are told that, hey, your days are numbered. This is for Parks and Gardens. I mean, we are not even thinking about our human survival. Then you have seen what I put out a few days ago on the W.E.B. Du Bois Center. I'm glad that an intellectual is here. W.E.B. Du Bois, the first black doctorate graduate from Harvard, who left his U.S. citizenship, came to join Nkrumah to reconstruct this country after independence, took on Ghanaian citizenship with his wife. Du Bois Center is a mecca for African scholars, blacks in the diaspora. And yet, intercepted agreement, 50 years is been given away. 50 years. The people have 2 years to take over to think about how to raise the initial $50 million. And then they have control. They appoint 6 members to the board.
What you have seen, they are not coming in with money.
It's another work and pay arrangement.
A regime
as has been consistent. Yeah. So everything in sight is being sold. Then, have you followed what has happened to the judges? Judges woke up one morning recently and 13 bungalows opposite the American embassy gone.
Gone as in what?
When the private developers who told them that, look, they are the new owners, started demolition, judges ran to their fellow judges for an injunction. That, hey, we have nowhere to stay. Save us. So they secured, I have the court document here. These are the judges. Judicial Service of Ghana are the plaintiffs against Lands Commission, Frames Oil Company Limited, the Attorney General. Unprecedented. Judges running to judges to save them, to save their bungalows.
And this was, what was the title of that?
Oh, it's a recent 27 February 2024. It's going now, ongoing. Will you believe that these judges secured an injunction on the 28th of November 2023, according to the court documents? The private developers defied the judges. They said go to hell and proceeded to demolish 3 more judges' bungalows at number 7 5th Circular Road, Cantonments, number 18 5th Circular Road, Cantonments, number 36 5th Circular Road, Cantonments. 13 have been demolished now. And the judges have sued the Attorney General, the Lands Commission. They say that they want their bungalows, their land back. Can you believe that? What is going on in this country? Everything is under attack. Everything is being sold.
They should sell the whole country.
I mean, what is happening?
They should sell the whole country.
What is happening? Parks and Gardens at Wa has been sold. Now there's a tussle between the local government minister, after my expose, and the private developer who is building a filling station, a gas well, and they are issuing threats. They send me threats, videos. They said they will deal with me and all of that.
Who sent you that?
The private developers.
The private developers.
And I can tell you authoritatively that the work I have done, all of these so-called private developers are fronting for top politicians. Top. Because look, what will make a so-called private developer defy judges?
Court judgment, yeah.
I mean, and a court judgment. It should tell you that these people they are fronting for very high place.
Let me understand
people in authority.
So in the case of the judges' bungalows that were demolished, 13.
Yes.
The injunction was secured in November 2023.
In November, 28 November 2023.
The demolition was done
and they defied it. And they defied it.
Was done after.
Yes, when they saw, to the credit of the judges, when they saw that some activity had begun, private developers, marauding invaders have just, descended upon their bungalows. They immediately went in to secure this injunction. And it was defied. And 3 more bungalows, as we speak, 13 bungalows. The full list is here. 13 bungalows. And I can run through the list of the judges who were occupying these bungalows.
Briefly.
Justice F.G. Kobie, Justice Anthony Abada, Justice K.A. Ofuriata, Justice Robin Batu, Justice Yao Apau, Justice Stephen Kanyoke, Justice Julius Ansan, Justice Akamba, Justice P.K. Jaisayo, Dr. Naomi Apia, C.J. Honyanuga, Justice Vida Akoto Banfo, Justice Lorenda Owusu.
The very own Honyanuga we know.
Yes, look at prominent.
Akoto Banfo we know.
Akoto Banfo, Akamba. I mean, prominent judges, Jaisayo, Justice Apau, the sole commissioner, you remember? All their bungalows are gone.
So
and the judges have attached in the affidavit here, they've attached the pictures, how it's been demolished, and how the people are building fast.
Can you show this to the... I don't know.
Building fast.
I mean... But let's...
I'll share them with you. I'll share them. I have some copies. I'll let you have them. I mean, incredible.
And the ordinary people, we don't know this.
No. Everything is being sold.
They should sell Ghana.
Everything in sight.
Sell the whole country.
Are you aware as we speak?
Let them evacuate all of us to Netherlands.
Hold on a bit. Yes, please. Mr. Ablakwa.
Yes. Are you aware that in addition to what the judges have gone through, the prison service has also run to court in a battle of their lives to protect the Boster Institute land at Roman Ridge? That one too is gone. Somebody shows up. Baumia's senior advisor says that he owns that land. It was given to him by President Kufuor many years ago. He now wants to take ownership.
Where the Correctional Institute.
Yes, the Boster Institute. His name is Professor Apiedu. And the work I have done on this matter, I had to, last week, 2 weeks ago, invite the Interior Minister to assure Parliament that he will give the Ghana Prison Service protection and support them because they were left alone. The walls had been demolished. Boster Institute, Roman Ridge, and every prime land is under attack. So you see, this matter, people have tried to make it, perhaps the Honorable Okujeto has some personal issue
so your
with somebody.
These matters are questionable. That's what...
Yeah. I mean, Look.
So what's your interest in all this?
My interest is that state assets should be protected. That politicians should stay away from purchasing state assets. And I have been consistent for the better part of 2 decades. Very consistent. Look, even when I lost the Jacob Echebi Lamte case, that 6-3 decision, I have the judgment here. And so for Akufu, we have to celebrate her. She said that, look, they are missing an opportunity. So for Akufu predicted it.
Former Chief Justice.
Yes, Chief Justice. She said that, look, they are missing an opportunity to look at the bigger picture. I can read what Sophia Akufu said in her dissenting. She was with the 3 who dissented. Very, very quickly.
Very, very knowledgeable. Very.
I mean, Sophia Akufu she's exceptional.
She's the chair of the University of Ghana Governing Council.
Very exceptional.
Very.
She said, look, firstly, I have become extremely that in the handling of enforcement of our constitution, specificities, manner in which it has been pleaded, the big picture being constitutional interpretation and enforcement, and its necessary legal impact, not only on the individual parties to the suit, but more importantly, also on the generality of the Ghanaian citizenry for the present and the future. It seems to me sometimes tends to become of secondary importance. Yeah. In my humble view, it is incumbent on this court, where a matter comes before it, by way of a writ invoking its original jurisdiction, to throw through the plain request to identify the core constitutional questions in issue, rather than just what the parties claim to be the matters. Unquote. That was a golden opportunity. And I'm sure that the judges who have lost their bungalow, it would not have happened.
Yeah.
And the marauding, looting that is happening all over the place. Now let me come back to SSNIT very quickly.
No, but just a second. I just want to help. I'm saying, Sami, you see, recently when President Mahama met with the press,
yes.
I mean, he openly said that he will not allow his appointees to be buying these things. I think that he should be a little bit more of also a Kagami, who will put it out there that those of you who are buying these things, go back for your money. Because if I get the opportunity to ascend to the political throne, I would make sure that those deals are reversed. In the interest of the nation, we must be giving some of these things.
He has put out a statement on that.
We must do some of these things. Let them buy, but when you get the opportunity,
he says there will be investigations and repossessions.
Yes.
That's what
reverse them.
Former President Mahama said.
Reverse them.
But there was a question to
No. I totally agree with you, because it's like
we can't sell Ghana.
There is no sacred grove any longer. Look, everything is on sale. The whole country is on sale.
No, but you see,
let the buyers come and evacuate all of us. And
so because
it's incredible.
Instances
take us to Netherlands.
that you raise,
because they are selling everything.
It's about the state in the end.
Yeah,
Lands that belong to the state, properties that belong to the state, to the extent that in some instances, a court.
Yes, there's even a court injunction. Yeah, and it's defied.
And
these are judges, high court judges.
So, what is the status of? I'm interested in this judges matter. Where are they now? Where are they being housed? Do you know?
You remember that when the National Cathedral was going to be constructed, they demolished
a number of
bungalows, a separate one, those around near the Parliament enclave, so we had to spend money on rental for them. And then they began a construction. The former Chief Justice began constructing new bungalows. So a number of them are being moved to those new bungalows. But look, I mean, why should judges be putting up in rental accommodation? Why should they be struggling? Why should, look, of all the stress that judges go through, why should we we are adding land guardism to their mandate? They have to be thinking about how their bungalows, their land will be protected. And they have to go to court. I don't recall when in our history we have seen anything like this, or where in the world you see anything like that. Judges, so the Lands Commission, the Attorney General, the President of the Republic, all want us to believe that they didn't know what was going on. Meanwhile, the people, the so-called private developers, Frames Oil and Co., all claim to have valid title. And that is why they have demolished. Who gave them that title? Do you recall that this whole marauding conduct, demolishing and taking over every prime land inside, do you recall that it has even created diplomatic tensions for us. Properties belonging to the Nigerian High Commission, you remember, were demolished.
They're rich.
They tried to take over in 2020. 2022, 2 years ago, I had to put out another expose how the Bulgarian embassy was demolished. As we speak, Alfred, as we speak, the Bulgarians are waiting for their compensation. The question is, who is going to pay? Who is going to pay? Because the government wants us to believe that those who perpetrated this demolition cannot be found. They cannot be located.
I see.
Joe Hagan, a gentleman called Joe Hagan, who collaborated with the president's appointee at NDPC, who masterminded this demolition. So as we speak, the Bulgarians, not too long ago, the Bulgarians came into town. You know, their ambassador has concurrent responsibility over Ghana. He's based in Abuja. Came in, met the Foreign Affairs Committee to remind us that they are waiting for their compensation. The Nigerians, you know how much we spent to replace the demolished property? So, look, you ask yourself, is there any elder in the room? Is there anybody who still loves this country? That is why I am so passionate about this private members bill, the Public Access Protection Bill, as we are calling it. And this has nothing to do with partisanship. It will affect all of us, all politicians. We cannot accept what is going on. That is why I am also on all fours with those who are demanding that people who are caught engaging in this must be punished. So the SSNIT board, the NPRA board,
the SSNIT board and NPRA board
must be dissolved without further delay. The CEO, Mr. Osafo Mafu, the board chair, because you see the levels of dishonesty, and that brings me to this damning Transaction Advisors Report, dated 24th May 2024.
Perfect. Hold on to that. This is SEM Capital, right?
Yes, the SEM Capital Transaction Advisors Report.
And hold on to that, because 5 days ago, the SSNIT board, in fact, the management of SSNIT, addressed the press indicating that there is enough justification for this transaction that has been terminated, because their own assessment of the financial status of these hotels that were up for sale is that they are financially incompetent. They're not doing well. And so they needed that injection for these assets to stay afloat financially, so that we, the workers, can also get the needed returns from those investments into these hotels. This is Kofi Osafo Mafu, who is the Director General of SSNIT, on Monday. Take a look.
If we look at Elmina, the picture is not that different. Indeed, it's 9 out of the last 14 years, has not paid us a dividend. The money we put into that really hasn't earned us any returns. The returns are negative over the period preceding the decision to divest of our 60% share. If we do Busia Beach, it's the same. No dividends, losses in most of the years, and returns negative, indeed minus 31.7 for the period 2010 to 2017. It puts everything into real perspective and why we would want to improve it with private investment. Ridge Royal, again, the picture is similar. And for the short period returns that we've owned it, returns are negative. That's since 2016. And a significant amount was spent on this hotel. In fact, the hotel owes us 44 million in the investment that we put into the hotel. We've also had an engagement with the NPRA. Once more, we will have another engagement, and if it's deemed necessary, we will continue to engage. I think that is the message, and it's not changed. So I think that's a point that I would like to make. Hotels have become uncompetitive, hence the need for capital. And that is also a very important part of what we need to make our hotels businesses competitive. It's about capital. And we cannot ignore that position with respect to the performance of the hotels.
So that's the Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT. And he says, in fact, they listed all the four. Ablakwa, and says that a number of them were posting negative returns between a period of 2010 and 2017. That's for Buzia. For Ridge Royale, it talks about after the takeover in 2016, the hotel owes SSNIT, in fact, we the contributors, 44 million cedis because they're not been able to bring enough returns. They are continuously posting negative returns. It's become uncompetitive. There's the need for capital. So then why do you question the basis for this?
Alfred, I've been asking myself, when will public officials in this country have some shame? Elsewhere, this press conference will be that you gave us these assets to manage. We have failed. They are not making profits. So forgive us. We are resigning. That's what this press conference should have been about.
Really?
I mean, they have no shame that you have failed. You can't manage, I mean, hotels. So many people just out of school, first-time business people. They don't claim to have all the top credentials that these people addressing these press conferences say they have, and are doing so well with their hotels. And yet, all of these people who we have given these assets, they come and hold press conferences and tell us that we have failed. We can't manage these assets, so we need to bring in a private investor. How disgraceful. And they are keeping their positions. How disgraceful. Why did you accept the job? Why are you keeping the job? If you can't succeed at managing, you can't turn fortunes around. Then the other question that we must ask logically, logical deduction, is that why is it that all of these assets, when they are under our control as public assets, we say we can't manage. We say they cannot do well.
And this is not peculiar to even the hotels.
Yes, it's not. Yes, it's not peculiar to the hotels. Yes, it's become a national canker.
That when the state
is managing, it's put under your care. You run it down. You cannot make profits. And yet, when you put it up for sale, you want it. As we know now, a cabinet minister wants it, and see the fierce battle, the resistance that he has mounted, the fight since this thing started, 2 months now. He has insisted that he wants it. Something that you say is not profitable, is not worthwhile, it's not, it's not good. You are doing us a favor. Why are you so keen on having it? But the point I'm making is that how is it that suddenly the very people who can manage these things when it's public suddenly can manage it, transform its fortunes? It does so well when it becomes private, when it's theirs. Does that not tell you that there's a fundamental issue?
So there's specific concern about the
look
at the number of
let's stay with these hotels. And I know that these matters, there's also the ideological considerations. I have never been a fan of divestiture. I've never supported it, even though my party has engaged in divestiture over the years. But I've never been, it's a personal ideological position. Those who say that government has no business doing business, I disagree with them. Ideologically, because the very people who in government say that government has no business doing business, it won't do well. What we must be asking ourselves is that why is it that when they turn around and buy it, it does well? They are able to transform it. They are excited about keeping it, adding it to their investment portfolios. So it's not about it being public or private. It's just mismanagement. They deliberately run these things down so that they will turn around and own it. That is why, if you look at these hotels, the Labadi Beach model, I keep emphasizing, Labadi Beach provides answers to us. Labadi Beach Hotel, when some 15 years ago, there were challenges with management, they decided that they would change management. They brought in an entity called Legacy. Legacy transformed Labadi Beach Hotel. In the process, they did knowledge transfer, shepherded the local staff who learned the best practice, because Legacy was from South Africa.
Yes. So
and they handed over to them.
Just for the benefit.
And
this Legacy
yes,
is
a hospitality management company.
Industry. In fact, it's a global, private. And so then, because you made reference to it,
so
there's always that question about, so why principle against?
So it wasn't sold to them. We just signed a management contract with them. It wasn't sold.
There are degrees of.
It was. So we signed a management contract with them. They came in. After 10 years, they left. Locals took over, and the locals have been doing well, making profits. If you look at
the SSNIT Director General said they are not making profit.
Labadi Beach Hotel is making profit. It's so profitable.
He said that, you heard him. I'm not the one saying.
No, but he's wrong. I have all these are audited reports from Deloitte. Labadi Beach Hotel is so profitable.
Show it to the cameras.
Very, very profitable. Indeed, if you look at the current numbers of Labadi Beach Hotel, their gross profit is 158.4 million. Their net operating profit is 58.2 million. 2023, as at 31st December 2023. Is here.
I suspect it's a slip from the Director General.
It probably slipped. Yeah. Because now they themselves, initially, they were on that trajectory that they are all making losses. Then when we published the financial statements, their audited accounts, then they made a U-turn that, okay, only Labadi Beach Hotel is profitable. So Labadi Beach Hotel has paid dividends consistently to government. Last year, they paid 25 million. The year before, 10 million. So Labadi Beach Hotel, very, very profitable. So the Labadi Beach Hotel model should tell you that when you have the right management, who are implementing the right management practices, fortunes can be transformed. So why is it that the only option that comes to the mind of some of these public officials is, oh, let's sell. And then they turn around to buy.